Do you want to know how to know if homeschooling is right for your child? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds through the lens of self-government. But I also teach about education, child development, and how to make a good, strong family culture. In this video, we're going to be talking about knowing if homeschooling is good for you. In this video, we're going to talk about what makes a good homeschool. I'm going to be sharing a few experiences from my homeschooling years because I homeschooled my children. And then we're going to talk about questions that you can ask yourself to know if homeschooling is right for you. Is homeschooling right for everyone? No, I don't think I could be as presumptuous as to assume that every single person would want homeschool. But I do know that children are born to families, not to school buildings. So actually, I do think that parents are meant to be the primary educator in their children's lives. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean we turn the education over to somebody else, or we bring in other people to help? Or does that mean that we take on that education fully ourselves? Well, each parent gets to choose those things. There are some people that, because of certain family dynamics, maybe some cultural things, maybe some times of crisis, that really wouldn't be a good fit for homeschooling. But by and large, most people that try it end up liking it. So homeschooling has really grown over the years. If you've seen my video about how many people are homeschooling in the US, then you can see those numbers right now in the 2020s. It really has grown. From the time that I started homeschooling, I have seen it boom multiple times. And there are multiple reasons for that. But mostly parents try it and then they don't want to go back. But what is it that led them to homeschooling in the first place? Why did they decide it was right for them when it's not necessarily right for everyone? Okay, I never thought I would be a homeschooler. I have to be honest about that. I was very successful in schooling. I loved public education. I did all of the extracurricular things, started in the plays and the sports teams and dance and all those types of things. But I was not happy with the idea of my child being bored in school because I was bored in school so often. So at the time I was doing therapeutic treatment care and I saw what was happening in the public schools with my foster children that had to go there, and I saw where my children were at academically, socially, morally, and I thought, you know what? I just want them to stay with family. I think we're doing a really good job here. They were reading by the time they were 3. They were going to be bored out of their mind, and I knew it. And by the way, if you want to teach your children to read, I do have videos on this channel relating to teaching children to read. So that could be helpful too. There's lots of videos on this channel about homeschooling. So if you haven't subscribed yet, you probably should because new ones come out all the time. So I took the plunge, decided to homeschool my children, and then realized that it was the best thing I could have ever done for my family. It wasn't about the academics either. It wasn't about how smart my children were and if they were ahead of everybody else, which, you know, let's be honest, they actually were most of the time. But it was about what happened to our family. There was this cultural shift. Suddenly, everyone in the family was the best of friends. Suddenly, we were working on this project called education with each other every day. Homeschooling became the way we lived. We learned, we discussed, we blew things up in the kitchen, we made things, we went on hikes and outings, and we did everything together. Have you ever seen the movie The Sound of Music? Well, Julie Andrews, who is the nanny that comes in to take care of this family of children for the Von Trapps, she does all of these things with them. She sings to them and she gets them singing. She takes them on outings. She teaches them all these things and she has these beautiful experiences. It's like living a dream. These children love it so much. And really, that's kind of what our homeschool ended up becoming. Now, I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. I don't want you to think that it was perfect or that my children never acted up and I never had to correct anything. That wasn't true. I did need to correct my children sometimes. In fact, if it weren't for teaching self-government, which is what this channel is mostly all about, I definitely would have had moments where I didn't like homeschool. There were moments when I wasn't sure we were making progress, and then boom, other moments where I was like, did we just do that? That is amazing. There were moments when they didn't want to do their math and I needed to give them an instruction and sometimes even correct them for their attitude. But we had all the pieces in place. With the teaching self-government parenting skills and principles, we were able to weather all those little things without hardly a hiccup in our homeschool day. And so most of the time it really was that happy, wonderful family where we just enjoyed each other's company and we never got sick of each other. We were best friends as a family. So here are some questions that you'll want to consider as you're contemplating whether homeschooling would be right for you or for your child. You really have to want to do it as the parent. It may be good for them, but if you do not feel like you want to do it and put in the effort, the whole time you will probably not like it for you. You can't approach homeschool with a position of selfishness. You have to say, I want to sacrifice. I want to give this time. I want to do these extra things. I want to be this in my child's life. You have to decide to want it and then never look back. No regrets, because your life will never be the same again. And it could be for the better. Okay, so first question is, does my child have a love of learning or not? Are you experiencing in your home hate of learning or love of learning? Schools oftentimes teach children to have a hate of learning. A love of learning can happen with homeschool if you set it up right. A second question, does my child need to have better relationships with family? You know those friend relationships that everybody worries about for social development? That's not really where you develop socially, unless you forget that there's a better place to develop socially. You can develop socially either with same-age peers or with your family or with the media. Where do you choose? What is the wisest source for good social information and social development? I chose for it to be family. That was one of the best things I could have picked. I decided that if my child had good relationships with family, that would make everything that they did in their life better. What about this question? Does my child enjoy life learning? And does my child want to learn? So what is life learning? Life learning is like chores and working and projects around the family, learning adult skills, baking, those types of things, taking care of siblings. That's all life learning. Those are all the lessons that aren't ever taught at school. Do they enjoy those things? Do they get enough opportunity to do those things? Then they might need more time at home. Does your child know how to learn, or do they think it's something that somebody else does to them? When you embark on homeschooling and you do it properly, your child learns that their learning is up to them, not you, and they take responsibility for that learning. What about this question? Does your child have enough time to learn the things that they want to learn? For most people, the answer is no. They're usually so busy doing all the have-tos for public school that they don't ever get to learn the things they're really interested in. And that is unfortunate. Those questions are just a beginning for you to figure out if homeschooling is right for you. You might ask other questions like, how is my child's moral compass? Do they see how to have good character development? There are more and more questions to ask. Do they need more time with you? Do they need more time alone? What do they need? How can you make that happen for them? Do they need to stretch themselves and step out of their comfort zones more? Well then, homeschool, take them out, meet other people, people that are not their same age. Help them see a full picture of life, not this strange, fabricated picture that happens in the public school. We could talk a lot more about homeschool. It's one of my favorite topics. And so at the time of COVID, I created a free website where I put resources. I even put conferences for people that were interested in pursuing homeschooling after COVID, and so that they could be successful during that time. I suggest going to that website. It's heartofhomeschool.net. If you go there, then you will have access to other free classes that will help you learn what homeschooling looked like at my house and how to teach some subjects that will be meaningful to you. Go to heartofhomeschool.net. Now, I'll see you there.